How is this the most popular news network? It's because they don't stick to that stuff that much. If that's all they did, then people wouldn't watch it as much, to be honest. Anyway, let's move on from this. Let's get to Israel. There was one update on the story of Israel. As you know, the most moral nation on the planet, the best democracy on the planet, Israel. Okay. And if you don't say that, you are anti-Semitic and a terrorist, and you should be deplatformed and possibly blackbagged in the middle of the street and sent off to a concentration camp in El Salvador, where you will slave away for the rest of your life for the crime of not saying this fundamental truth. Okay. Let me get that out of the way. Israel did a boo-boo, an accident. They killed a bunch of first responders, directly shot them, killed them. And then they dug holes, a mass grave, an unmarked mass grave, and dumped the bodies of the healthcare workers into that mass grave alongside the ambulance. And at first, when people were like, what the f***, you executed a bunch of healthcare workers, what are you doing? They said, oh, they were Hamas. Then they were like, no, they weren't. They were healthcare workers. They said, oh, well, their lights were off, so we accidentally thought that they were Hamas. And then footage came out that showed that that wasn't the case, and that the initial suspicion that Israel just executed these people was correct. They turned around and said, oopsie, I guess we fucked up. And it became an issue of accountability for Israel, even though they should have no respect at this point, because they've never said the truth. This is not the first convoy of ambulances that Israel has fired upon and executed, and it most likely won't be the last if we don't put an end to Israel's violence. But now, accountability has finally come to Israel, it seems. Let's take a look at what they did.
Professional failure, a series of operational mistakes. These are the findings of the Israeli military's investigation into its attack on a medical convoy in Gaza that killed 15 Palestinian aid workers. Israeli troops buried their bodies and the crushed vehicles in the sand. The military, under pressure to explain its actions, has released a statement. It says, the deputy commander failed to identify the fire truck and ambulances, blaming it on poor night visibility.
So how did this collab with Ian pan out for you, buddy? It's so satisfying seeing you fall off. What? You're talking about iDubbbz? Fall off? Are you okay? Is this person seeing something that I'm not seeing? What kind of alternative reality do you exist in? Have you fallen off to 35,000 live concurrent viewers? Like, what do you mean? Having said that, it's also, 6 hours in. So, so buddy, how is being hot and rich working out? So nice to see you fall off. I got in my ass from wiping poorly. You had 35K last week too? I did. I don't really know. I don't really know what this chatter is talking about. It's weird, but okay. One day it'll happen. Burgles, thank you for the 50 gifted subs, contributing to the Fallout Fund. Thank you. Thank you for your support in this trying time, as I have consistently fallen off over and over again. Hate it. Shadow only saw your views on election night and thinks you average 300K. Yeah. If I averaged 300,000 views every single day, America would be closely resembling Chinese manufacturing at this point, I think. Adrian is online. Thank you for the 25 gifted subs. Caked Up Bot. Thank you for the 10 gifted subs. Love seeing you fall, and then you're screaming the 35K people being invited on stage for Coachella, going on podcasts, being interviewed, being booked and busy. I mean, yeah, he's just manifesting the fall off, and it'll happen eventually. What day this week was it again? You'll appear on the Daily Show? No, not this week. It's going to be next month, but I don't know. This guy has been coming in since 2022, and maybe at a certain point might have been a fan, and somewhere along the line, I mean, he was like rating ad break debates, and then somewhere along the line, his attitude changed. Scum of the earth, lol, copium, dog. So how did the shit collab with Ian pan out for you, buddy? Starfire57, thank you for the 10 gifted subs. And Hidden Kitchen, thank you for the 5 gifted subs. And Adrian is online. Thank you for the 25 gifted subs. I want us on to notice me someday. I notice you, sweet baby Ray. Let's continue.
He opened fire. The rest of the battalion followed. He has now been dismissed.
Dismissed him. He did an internationally recognized, heavily publicized war crime, an act of terror that is completely and utterly unjustifiable, and yet somehow normal process within the Israeli occupying forces killing fields in Gaza, and they only just went, oh, all right, well, I guess we'll move you over to desk duty.
Statement also said removing the bodies was reasonable under the circumstances, but the decision to crush the vehicles was wrong, and there was no attempt to conceal the event.
Oh, dude, yeah, no, totally. That wasn't to conceal the event at all. We were super proud of it.
At the heart of the matter is the identities of those killed.
Jumpsuit dumpling,
Israel
thank you for the 5
again
gifted.
claimed that 6 were members of Hamas, but it has provided no evidence of this.
First of all, as the IDF said, and we've been gathering the evidence around this from the very beginning and taking our time to do so, is that 5 or possibly 6 members of the people that were in that ambulance have links to Hamas.
Sky News' own investigation didn't find any proof the medics were associated with Hamas. It was the video found on the phone of one of the medics killed that provided the first real evidence of what happened. It proved the convoy did have its lights on, and medics...
I'm definitely wrong, but this is probably Israel's Abu Ghraib moment. It exposed them so blatantly. Every MSM outlet is against them on this openly, and even New York Times was the one who reported on it. Like Abu Ghraib, very few GIs got a slap on the wrist. Here, one guy got dismissed. It will be another thing on the scale against Israel's public image. Yeah, but I think it doesn't matter ultimately. Because as long as America looks at this depravity and says, no, keep doing it, keep pushing, it will continue. America not only defends Israel with propaganda whenever they engage in acts like this, they refuse to acknowledge these horrifying atrocities. Some in the media barely offer it coverage. But ultimately, as long as there is no real pressure from other countries because they are all captive to American interests, servile to American interests entirely, all the regional actors, with some notable exceptions, which we have all the smoke for, like the Houthis, for example. Houthis are the arch nemesis of America. They're the worst country on the planet. They're the worst. They're so bad.
Were wearing high-vis vests, contradicting an earlier statement by the military. Israel's story has changed since the bodies were recovered and calls for an independent...
Yeah, it's broad daylight. They do this every time. And the only reason why they even do this is because it is an act of violence so shocking and so naked, so nakedly inhumane that it causes a stir-up in the Western world, within Western media. And only then do they at least lie about what took place. And then slowly but surely the truth comes out and then they go, oopsie, and there's nothing that takes place. This is the Israeli method in perpetuity. This has never changed. There's like that famous newspaper article from multiple decades ago at this point where it's like, what is it? The narcissist's poem or whatever, but talking about Israel. Oh, nothing happened. And if it did, it was Hamas. And if it did, it was their fault. If it comes out that it was our fault, it's like, oops, we made a mistake with no repercussions whatsoever, no real accountability whatsoever. It's not new. This happened with Shireen Abu Akleh as well. And it happens thousands of times more than that. It's just these are the ones that actually make its way to the Western world. These are the stories that make its way to the Western world. And Israel lies about it. And they don't even suffer any repercussions in the eyes of the media. The media will tomorrow turn around and take an Israeli official seriously as though they are not straightforwardly lying to them. They'll go, oh, what happened? Yeah, that didn't happen. And if it did, it wasn't bad. And if it was, that's not a big deal. And if it is, that's not my fault. And if it was, I didn't mean it. And if I did, you deserved it. Westerners that are paying close attention to this stuff are basically seeing 1%, the tip of the iceberg, not even the tip of the iceberg, just 1% of the atrocity. And even then, Israel is so obviously lying all the goddamn time about every single minute detail. They're not even doing a good job with their lies. They just like know that there's no accountability, so they don't even see the need to. And then everyone is shocked why everybody says F Israel. I wonder how this happened. Why would anybody say F Israel? F this country that's doing like this. Yeah, CNN International. Israeli probe into the killing of the 15 Gaza emergency workers finds professional failures in the unit. A commander is being fired over the incident. That is not accountability. Criminals cannot investigate themselves. But more importantly, the only reason Israel even announced the sham investigation is because of the footage that exposed their lies and attempted cover-up. Just imagine what else they're hiding. We don't even have to imagine it. We cover it on a daily basis. We cover it on a daily basis. It's just mainstream media doesn't choose to cover those stories at all. Because if they did, the percentage of people that have an unfavorable opinion of Israel would go from 53% to 99% because it is a Nazi country doing a live streamed version of the Holocaust. It's that simple. No matter how much you think, oh, well, I've been taught that this is a good country, there's only so much child murder that you can experience, that you can watch happen in broad daylight and still continue your support. You have to have a lifetime of direct social conditioning associated with a real fear, not a valid one, but one that you perceive as valid, that if this country wasn't being violent like this, then you would all die. And even then, considering that there are plenty of Zionists, Jews, that become anti-Zionists in the process of recognizing these atrocities, seemingly, even with a lifetime of social conditioning, you can still recognize the truth. There's also the other side of this where obviously, yeah, Israel is also facing internal crisis. The Israeli army is facing its biggest refusal crisis in decades. Over 100,000 Israelis have reportedly duty. While the reasons differ, the scale demonstrates the war's waning legitimacy. There's only so much death and destruction that the rabid, bloodthirsty assholes will engage with as well. Eventually, they want to go back to wearing capri pants and listening to psytrance music and eating hummus, okay? The benefits of being a part of the Imperial Corps is to do those sorts of things. You're not built for war. You're going to want to dance again, you know? That's what happens. The only thing natives have to do is wait it out. With Israel, it's a little bit different because it's a settler colonial entity that is established over the course of 76 years. But there's only so much militancy that they will withstand. There's only so much violence they can put out there before they go, oh, well, what's all of this for? Like, I want to get my marketing job and go back to eating the worst hummus of all time, listening to the worst psytrance music that you have ever heard. I want to be able to continue to torture myself with this kind of shit. Doubling down on the hummus. Yeah, I am the number one anti-Semite. They're calling me a Nazi over there, brother, because of the bleach sword. What is this? They want to...
Zionists. Of course we recognize the Jewish people's right to self-determination in their ancestral homeland. We're Zionists. Of course we support the IDF's mission to dismantle Hamas and release the
Hamas!
We're Zionists. We know Hatikva like the back of our hand.
We're Zionists. We Israelify our wardrobe when Israel is attacked to show our support and pride.
We're Zionists. Of course we proudly stand by our brothers and sisters in the Holy Land.
We're Zionists. Of course we won't stop talking about our last trip to Israel.
We're Zionists. Our favorite colors are blue and white.
We're Zionists.
This was so funny. Is this ironic? No, dude. This is literally how bad the propaganda is. So libbed up.
We value life and mourn every innocent death.
We're Zionists. We won't stop advocating for the world's only Jewish state.
We're Zionists. One of our favorite sayings is 3 words. Am Yisrael Chai. We're Zionists.
Careful now, saying their hummus is anti-Semitism and denying the Holocaust. So you deny the Holocaust. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I love Israeli hummus. It's the best. It's the only real hummus. It's my favorite part of Israeli cuisine. I'm so sorry. Please don't kidnap me and put me in a facility and torture me, please. Oh my God. I'm going to keep eating the hummus, I promise. I know you're kidding and referring to Ethan. I'm just riffing with you, chatter.